Hey, Willie Armelini from Flowers and Scents with your industry buzz. Today, we're going to interview Jaime Ruiz from Groflowers, which is GRO Flowers. And Jaime is an expert in hydrangeas. Hydrangeas have become very popular, and Jaime is going to tell us all about them. So without further ado, Jaime Ruiz. And there is Jaime Ruiz from Groflowers. Hi, good morning, Jaime. How are you?
Good morning, Willie. How are you? How's everything going?
It's a crazy world, but everything is going okay today. So far, I woke up, and that's a good way to start.
Excellent. And before we start, I want to thank you very much for the tremendous job you do for the industry. I think it's great. You kind of joined the whole industry with your Flower and Scent program, and thank you for my side. And I guess a lot of people are happy that somebody is joining through, at least through this, in this time, difficult times. So
I'm doing my best. So thank you for that. So tell us about Groflowers and how you ended up in the flower business, I guess.
Well, as we know each other from the logistics side years ago, well, what happened like in 2008, there was a crisis and a lot of wholesalers decided, why don't you sell me direct from the farm, but take care of everything, just landed in Miami. So that's how, with few wholesalers, Groflowers started. Some of the Miami importers went down in 2008. So that was an opportunity for us to get into the business. And what we did with that is we had a small field in Colombia, in Medellin, and that field developed into now 20 hectares of production. So what we did is have everything, all the flowers landed in Miami. So solve not only the flower issue, but the logistics side. And that's what we do in the Medellin area. In Ecuador, which I have a company before, that got transformed into a 4PL logistics, which is like a buying club where we help wholesalers buy from the farms, and we organize everything, the shipments. So somebody wants to outsource the buying, we can help on that. And that's for roses and everything that you can find in Ecuador. Especially we specialize in garden roses, which is a new item for the industry. And we have a collection of over 100 varieties there. So that's more or less what we do for the wholesale industry.
Out of Ecuador and out of Medellin?
Correct. In Medellin, we grow. In Ecuador, we outsource through key vendors.
Okay. All right. So, and anything out of Bogota, or mostly I know you're based in Medellin?
We have some operation in Bogota, but the main operation is Medellin, then Quito, and some in Bogota. But we do cover every aspect of the buying side from any of these places. So
yeah,
that's what we do.
You took your logistics knowledge. Again, we were quote unquote competitors at one point, in the import business or the logistics import business. My feeling was always that you decided you can't make a lot of money, charging a few pennies for a box, trying to move them. And the fact maybe the importers and the growers were actually the one making the money. So you decided to jump in and be a grower. You weren't a grower originally, no?
I always love agriculture. My dad had some fields of potato and corn production. He was a lawyer, but he loved agriculture. So that inspired me to, love agriculture. And then that's why I ended up studying landscape architecture program with horticulture studies. So with that, I went to Colombia. I remarried my wife, as a Colombian lady, and I started living in La Ceja. And at that time, that was the hydrangea business was starting. And I saw an opportunity there. There was a lot of things to do, and hydrangea got on fashion, and then exploded. Now the government says that it's about 1,500 hectares of production, and we have been all there for almost 12 years.
Yeah, well, Medellin, of course, was originally known, and perhaps is still known, for its chrysanthemums. That was because of the lower altitude than Bogota. Chrysanthemums and pom-poms and such seem to grow better there than in Bogota.
It is very famous for chrysanthemums. The chrysanthemum growers are very well developed. It's high technology. It's a very, very nice operations they run in the Medellin area. And they have been there for more than 20, 30 years.
Yeah, many of them have been there for a long, long time.
A long
So
time.
then, okay, here comes along hydrangeas, and which is a crop. When I was working for an importer in Miami, it was difficult to even give hydrangeas away. They were so difficult. They were challenging. They were short. The colors were not clear or clean and solid. There was a lot of mixed colors, and the vase life was quite subject because they sort of deflate. They're called hydrangea for a reason. They want water and need water, and I guess in the meantime they've become so popular because I guess people like Floralife and those kind of companies have figured out how to hydrate them or allow them to be hydrated and stay hydrated.
So this is what I know about because I've been witnessing the whole transition from a small, maybe 100 hectares to 1,500 hectares. And there's a common misconception on buyers about what is the hydrangea so-called industry, because we tend to compare there's similar to roses or pom-poms that normally are highly developed farms with large investments. And in this case, this is not. So the majority of the farms are low tech, low investment, fields going into exporter. Exporters trying to do their best to get the quality at the end. And that's very difficult. So at the end, you end up with 80% and 20%. The standards are not very well crafted because if they don't take care from the beginning, they will not do it at the end. So according to statistics, there are 1,500 hectares in the latest number I have from the Colombian government. And there are also 1,200 fields in operation. So this means that the average farm, it is about 1.2 hectares.
Wow.
So obviously we have now large investment, large farms. Let's take 10% out of that in the big farms, good farms, hydrangea farms. And there's still a 90% of the production, even that ratio is going below that, below the 1 hectare per field of operation. Those are ICA, that's the government of Colombia, saying that these are the number of fields authorized for production.
Are these grown? Are these grown indoors or outdoors? Is it a field crop?
Most hydrangeas are grown outdoors. And from that, I'm going to talk more about the 90% of the production, which is low tech, no water, nothing. I'm almost barely basic operation. And even if you see the industry, you don't see any studies about hydrangeas. You don't see thesis. You don't have any manual how to grow hydrangeas. So most of the growers have been on a trial and error basis. And again, I'm saying there's a good percentage of growers who do a great job and very well, a lot of technology, but the majority is still there's a small family grower going to an exporter and cutting every 6 months. So by the time the next crop is harvested, the quality could be anything. So then you have all the variations. And with all these problems, we saw an opportunity on how to improve those gaps, to have the right color at the right time with the right quantity. Knowing that even the plants it's just a native material. So unlike the roses that you buy from a breeder, you have a guarantee that the plant is going to perform in color, shape, size, and everything. In hydrangeas, you try to do whatever from a native plant that has been replicated 100,000 times. So, and the other misconception is that hydrangea business is normally a low density production. So if you want to compare, people say, oh, how many hectares of hydrangeas you have in Colombia? But in reality, if you count by plants, normally the average hectare from these 90% of the people are 20,000 plants per hectare. So compared to roses, so it's 1/4 of the roses. So the 1,500 hectares, we want to compare it to roses. So it's about 350 actually real hectares with 80,000 plants. So, wow. So that being said, there has been a lot of opportunities to improvement. It's still a young industry. It's still developing. A lot of new investment is improving. As you see, water is an important issue. There's a lot of things to be improved, and we find a need to constantly improve our production to make sure that we are the best. We don't want to be the biggest all the time. That's our focus. We're the best, and we were so honored to have the to be champion of the Groflowers show in 2018, being the champion of all the competition was a huge honor for us.
Yes.
And we have been also 3 times best hydrangea grower in the last 6 years. So I think we're very happy with that. It's a commitment for quality and a commitment to the customers to provide them the newest varieties. We have pink hydrangeas, which is very difficult to grow there. And that's what we do, my friend. And we're looking forward. Obviously, this has been a difficult time for everyone, but we still see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we see that there's opportunities every time.
So at Groflowers, which is your company, are you growing all your own hydrangeas, or are you buying them from the small farms?
I have my own farms. We have our own farms. We have 3 different elevations for different products. The hydrangeas is if you want mini green, you have to have it in different environments. So there's a lot of microclimates. We have the 3 farms that providing the mini greens in one farm, the premium and regular in the other side. In the pink hydrangeas, we have it on the greenhouse, high investment, and that's why we can get those colors that very few people, I don't know if somebody else can do.
What is the natural color of a hydrangea? White?
Well, there are like a couple of the main ones is white, but they have green and light blue and some dark blue. They have appeared and developed over the last 10 years, but initially it was white and white. So, but this is exciting. It's exciting. Some people are trying, Dutch product. Still, it's not the majority of the production, but again, it's a young industry. Hydrangea has become part of every wholesaler need, and so we're still there. I think there's going to be changes, but I think we see an opportunity.
Yes, and so the fact that hydrangeas, again, historically were difficult to transport. I know my family, when they always were having difficulty in getting a lot of claims for hydrangeas because they didn't like the cold, the same as the roses in some cases. Right. So that was always an issue. And you told me a really interesting statistic about the interventions or the interceptions of insects and different problems, pests coming from the hydrangea industry.
So again, what happens with the low-tech operation is that you don't control your pests. And even though hydrangeas are 7.7% of the total Colombian production, they represent 23% of all the total interceptions. So it's a really big problem to have all these little fields trying to do their best, but not doing the best. And all the pests are flowing. So when it breaks to aphids, they see that hydrangea is a potential problem. So I think the government is trying to work out those issues, but still is a problem. So that gives you another level of what happened when you don't have.
Yeah, maybe for those who don't understand what that means exactly, when every flower that's coming from South America or from any foreign location goes through a USDA inspection, and during that inspection, if they find critters, any number of different kinds of critters, they hold the shipment. And when you hold the shipment, that means they have to identify the insect and decide whether it's already one that's in the US and it's not a threat any longer, or if it is one that's a threat, they hold them. And then you have to fumigate them. And fumigation cannot be good for hydrangeas, something that likes so much water, because it's that the fumigation process done at the port of entry is sort of based on heat, and it's terrible for any sort of flower, but I can imagine it's terrible for hydrangeas. So when you have so many hydrangeas coming in from small farms, even though they're collectively done through one exporter or importer, they only have to find one insect in one box and the whole shipment gets held.
So the other issue is that with a small farm, you don't have large investment, you don't have a water treatment plant, so they use any water. And hydrangeas trouble with a water bag. So with that water bag is full of bacteria. So that's why when you go to any location, a supermarket, whatever, so the hydrangea is the flower that performs the least. It's always wilted, or obviously with exceptions, but That's because they collect from all the growers. They don't have the money to put all the water treatment processes. There are certain things they can do, but still that reduces the base life. And on top of that, nobody has, or very few people, again, the youth farms, they have it, but most of them don't have any refrigeration, anything. Going to the airport, they're arriving at 15, 20 Celsius, that's kind of 60 Fahrenheit. And from there on, you have all the issues. So again, there's a lot of investment to be needed if you want to do a big farm. We have it all the cold chain. That's what we learn in logistics, cold chain, in keeping the flowers cool so they don't drink the water, but they can stay longer with good water. So that's more or less what this, again, it's tremendous opportunity to improve.
Yeah,
But,
and I think perhaps like myself, when I bought the hydrangeas, you find a little bag or maybe of cotton or whatever, but some water wrapped around the stem, and you think, perfect. It's been hydrated. It's got fluid. It's traveling with fluid. Sort of a wet pack, if you will. And but now you're saying that the water itself may be killing the rose. I mean, killing the hydrangea. Just by bacteria.
Most of the times,
Wow.
because I don't see the investment in water treatment plants. I don't see, very few people use all the, the Chrysal or whatever other solution to kill the bacteria. It's great. Every time it's more developed, but still, we still see that.
Wow. Well, that's pretty interesting about hydrangeas because, again, has become such a popular crop that, like you say, every wholesaler has to have them. They're in all the wedding pictures, and for good reason, because one hydrangea is like 5 roses. It takes up so much room. It's almost an arrangement itself. And particularly when you put a whole bunch of them together, they look just beautiful. It's really a nice crop, happy flower. It's a nice, bright, happy looking flower. And
it gives a lot of space. Yeah.
It takes up a lot of space, but of course, you don't want it to die in the middle of your arrangement, because then the whole arrangement looks terrible. So you're saying that, during proper hydration and proper water treatment and doing all the proper stuff that you've sort of come to learn by trial and error has helped to the point where it's a successful crop that people can actually use.
Absolutely. Once you do it fine and then arrive to the end consumer or the florist, they know how to treat hydrangeas, and they know the right hydration for it. It's just a matter of getting to the florist in the proper condition. And then after that, they're good.
Well, I had some hydrangeas here the other day, and I'm staying at a friend's house, and she said, "Oh, hydrangeas, you have to hit the stem with a hammer, right?" And I said, "No, I think that's an old wives' tale, that you smash the woody part of the stem with a hammer, and that allows it to drink. But that's probably not a good recipe, is it?"
I don't think so. I mean, a good florist would tell you that a diagonal cut would be a better way to do. But that's
clean diagonal cut, and clean diagonal cut with some hydration, chemicals or whatever, flower food essentially, and to keep the bacteria down. And then voila, you have a nice flower that you can deal with. So Jaime, how would people find you? They would go to groflowers.com.
Yeah, we have the website groflowers.net and groflowers, one word, groflowers, groflowers.net. And then you can find some information how to reach us. And I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to share. I wanted to share some of the hydrangea industry, not only Groflowers, but people to learn what we can present. And thank you again very much for your time. And again, you're doing a great job for the industry, my friend.
Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
I'm still waiting for my harmonica class.
Harmonica lesson. Well, as you well know.
You see, I'm coming.
I offered a free harmonica lesson with his when he became a subscriber on Flowers and Scents. The offer still holds. I move a little farther away from you now. It's a little more difficult, but the offer still holds. But you still got one. I'm happy for you. So, my friend, thank you for this interview, and I'll edit it and I'll get it back to you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.